the history and stuff? That question? The second? Okay, yeah, just sorry. Getting back to like the history about the Beach Boys and why it's like so important to the culture.
So yeah, so like we were saying a little while ago was we were taught from the generation before us, and they were taught from the generation before that, is that the reason that we're down here, it's some guys are here for the money. Of course, you need money to survive, but the bigger picture in it all is the ambassadorship of how we treat the tourists. And when they come down and you meet them on the beach, it's like some guys, like surf instructors, there's a difference between a beach boy and a surf instructor. The surf instructor just wants to get them in the water within an hour, get them out, and aloha, bye. They don't see them again. They just want the money. But for beach boys, real beach boys that consider this a lifestyle, is that when they take those people on a lesson, they come back. Now, instead of saying goodbye, they say hello again. Like, let's go eat, or let's go do this, and let's go do that. If you still have some energy later on in the day, I'll take you back out again. Let's go catch a couple more waves. You know what I mean? And then they come back the next day, and the next day, and next thing you know, you're with them for like a week or two. You know everything about them. You know what they do. You know their parents. You know what I mean? And then next thing you know, they have friends coming back, asking for you, and then you do this. You repeat the process, and then next you have a long list of clients, friends that come all year round. And it all started from the way you treated that first person. So what we try to do is we try to teach the young guys. We call them board boys. When they first come on the beach, they're board boys. And then once we feel that they're ready to go get their license, they get their license. And then they start doing the same thing. And it feels good for us, the older guys, when you sit back and you watch them and you say, oh, you may wait. Oh. When you sit back and you watch them interact and do what they do, and it's like, damn, that's what I was doing 20 or 30 years ago. It's the same thing. That's how you know you're doing it right, and the tradition will continue, is when you see that. And other things about the history of the Beach Boys and the tradition is, like, you don't have to be asked to do something. Like, you look around, there's leaves all over the place. You know what I mean? That's not supposed to be there. And you shouldn't have to ask someone to pick it up. If you walk, you just do it. You rake the beach. That's what you call raking the beach. It's rubbish. There's a lot of things that you do without being asked. That's how you know that the guy's fitting in. It's how you act when you think no one's looking, right? Like, if you know someone's watching, you're gonna act a certain way. But it's what do you do and how do you act when nobody's watching you? That's the tradition that we hope to keep it going. But in the current situation, it's, as far as this side of the beach, it's not. When you go down to the hotel side, they still got the guys there that's been around for a long time. But this city and county concessions, it's totally different than what it was 6 months ago.
Can you elaborate more on how in the first interview you talked about the difference between a beach boy and a surf instructor, like how the beach boy has their canoe?
Yeah, so surf instructors, the way it used to be is when you come on the beach to work and time for you to get licensed, you do both. You get your surfing license and your canoe license. It was never ever separated. And in the last probably 15 years, you got a whole bunch of people that want to be surf instructors, but they don't want to be beach boys. They don't want to work on the beach. They want to open up their own surf schools and take people surfing at different beaches. So they started applying to get their surfing license without the canoe license. So that whole surf instructor surfing school thing popped up. And now it seems that there's more people doing that than there is actual beach boys, with the canoe license. And that's the difference. The difference is a surfing instructor, it's a job. You know what I mean? They gotta hustle, they gotta go get tourists, they gotta go, get in their car and they gotta meet them here, meet them there. It's a job to them. But being on beach boys, we don't really consider this one job. I mean, look at this. So you're sitting on the beach right now, you know what I mean? Whether you get the customer or not, you're going to be here tomorrow. You're going to be here when it's raining. You're going to be here when nobody's on the beach. You're going to still be here waiting. You might get that one person that wants to go surfing, and you got to be here to take them. So that's what I think is a difference between an instructor and a beach boy. You know what I mean?
Can you elaborate too, like how the beach boy, like that culture is like specific to white people?
Yeah. So when you have your canoe and surf license, you're a beach boy. You're only gonna work here. This is it. None of us take one customer and go to another beach or go surf, or one surfing tour, or you know what I mean. We're only gonna work here. Whereas the surf instructors from the surf schools, they don't work here. You know, it's kind of like when Kapu area, they kind of come inside here. They got to go to another beach. You know what I mean? So they go everywhere else but here, and we stay here. We don't go nowhere else.
I think in like the first interview you were saying here too is like the only place you can like with the canoe.
Canoe, I think it's the only place in the world where you can actually get one canoe ride on waves. You know, there's other places might have canoe rides in flat water or whatever, but this is like when Disneyland ride without going to Disneyland, you know what I mean? And to do that, you got to have two guys on the canoe that's licensed for the canoe. And with these guys, with Dive Oahu, I think they've done maybe 5 canoe rides in the last 5 months, where we would do maybe 10, 15 canoe rides a day, whether you got one person or 6 or 7. If somebody wanted to go, we go, you know what I mean? But it's not happening no more. So that part of the beach boy tradition is dying fast on this end of the beach because the canoe ride's not being offered.
So getting back to like when you guys had to leave, can you explain like what was your initial reaction when you first started?
In shock. In shock, but I knew, I mean, I could have stayed and, you know, try to fight it, and it's not going to accomplish anything, you know what I mean? If you want to just try to get forced off the beach. So when we got off, it was kind of weird because it's been so long, you know what I mean? It's been so long that this is all we've done since I was like 18 years old. And then when you come back the next day and you see one different company they're doing, and then you're sitting back watching, it's like, they're doing that wrong. They're doing that, and you can't say nothing, you know. You wanna go and tell them they're doing it wrong, and you wanna help, you know what I mean? Because the one suffering is a tourist, you know what I mean? That's who's ultimately suffering from the inexperience of the new vendor. But then you gotta bite your tongue and say, you know what, let them go. You know, they gotta sink or swim. You know what I mean? And we hope that they sink, which they have been doing. Now it's just time for the city to realize it.
Can you explain like how you were saying the first interview, like the process, like with the state and kind of how they were changing?
Oh, okay, yeah. So historically the way the concession bids have gone, you have to be in this type of business, you know, surfboard, canoe, surfing lesson. You have to be in this type of business to bid. The owner or the operator have to have the surfing license card, the blue card we call it, to qualify to bid. And then once you meet the minimum qualifications, then you're approved to bid. Well, in this situation, they changed the wording about a year ago, where they opened it up to basically anybody. Anybody. You could have been, ABC stores could have put a bid in. So they put it up to bid that first time, and the city did a scoring system where they had a committee who knows nothing about the beach, scored your proposal that you submitted, a business proposal. So the 2 highest scores ultimately was the 2 concession winners. We was one of them. And one of the losing concession proposal people, which we knew was going to happen, anybody who lost was going to challenge it, because how can you score something you don't know nothing about? And how do you score, say I give you a proposal and the best proposal is worth 10 points. How much is the second place proposal worth? Is it worth 9 points? Is it worth 5? There was no scale. You know what I mean? So, and it's basically all opinion, because the committee had 5 or 6 people, and all 5 or 6 didn't score the same. One of them had package A was the best, one was package C was the best, so it was all over the place. So we knew whoever was going to lose was going to challenge it, and sure enough they challenged it and they got thrown out. They had to do it again. In the process of doing it again, to do it the correct way, the way they historically have done it, they added beach boy concession business or ocean recreation business. So now that opens it up to the fishing boats and jet skis, anybody who works on ocean. That's how these guys qualified. And the city had it, they did that for them to qualify. So they put the thing out to bid again, and there was they outbid us by 1%. And for the first time in history of the beach, one operator could have both concessions, whereas you could never do that before. The city always wanted competition. So, 5 years ago, we was a high bidder on boat stands, but we had to choose one, which is the way it should be. And even if we won the bid this time, I wouldn't have taken 2 stands, because what are you going to do? You're going to jack the prices up, and the tourists got no choice. They have to do it, and that's what they did. So that's the problem. They let an unqualified bidder bid, and getting his chance to bid, of course he's going to go as high as he can. That's his one and only chance, right? So you can't really blame him for bidding high. If the city tells you to put the paper in and when you see what happens, you're going to put it in. It's just the city's fault by qualifying an unqualified bidder.
I think you're saying
The sun is like cutting him off halfway. You gotta go in the sun or up?
how does it look? Oh, is it okay?
Yeah, wait, let me go more to the right or more to the left?
To the
You want sun?
left. To the right, yeah. To the sun, I think will look better.
More sunlight?
Yeah.
I got to move like right back here then maybe, huh?
Yeah.